I'm on the national shoreline, North Padre Island, Texas. And this is the deserted part, but it's not completely deserted because about 100 yards that way there's one camper. There's a couple of kids swimming, and to my left about 200 yards. So there are people around me, but it's, quote, the deserted part. If you go a little bit towards Port A, it's packed with people, and even in front of our condo, there's too many people to do filming comfortably. But I chose a deserted spot because it's appropriate. Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever felt that you're being deserted? Maybe a husband walked out on you, or a wife walked out on you, or your children walked out on you. Or maybe life itself has made you feel lonely. You're surrounded by people. There's people on either side of me. But you feel that you're on a desert, all alone. A desert island, waves making a sound, seagulls flying around, but you're lonely. You're feeling that there's nobody there. It's just you, and even God seems so far away. God's not even attentive to your prayers. You're all alone.
This place called Lonely Street.
In your life. Life is full of lonely street, and you're going to continue to have that throughout your life, and you're not alone. Take courage in the fact that great people felt alone. The prophets in the scriptures, they felt all alone. Even Elijah, as you know that story, was sent out and he felt alone. There was a season in my life that I felt all alone. My father had died at 7. My second dad divorced my mom at the age of 13, and I basically kind of gravitated towards being a loner. And it was probably a mechanism to protect myself from hurt. And sometimes we'll put up walls, and those walls we put up of our own choosing because we don't want anybody to scale the wall to hurt us. So sometimes being alone is a fact that we've made ourselves be alone because we're afraid that people are going to hurt us. You've got to get over that, because if you're fearful of people hurting you, you've erected the walls, you're alone of your own choosing. Sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, you're alone because God wants you alone. He wants to speak to you. But a lot of times you're alone because you've chosen to be a loner. God does not want you to be a loner. Why would He have sent the disciples to go out and make disciples of nations, getting involved in the lives of others, if He wanted us to be loners? He doesn't want us to be loners. He wants us to be evangelists, to share our faith. Many of the prophets, when they gave their word to Israel as a warning, they felt alone. They weren't received. They were rejected. Jesus Himself felt alone. He said to His disciples, "Are you also going to leave me?" He said in the garden, "Father, take the cup if it's possible." But He felt alone because when He went up, His disciples were sleeping. He says, "Could you not even watch and pray with me? I just asked you to keep me company for a little bit, and you have forsaken me." And then, of course, on the cross, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" So He felt forsaken. King David is a prime example of when you're alone, good things can happen. Many of the Psalms that we love so much are Psalms that he wrote in his alone time in the wilderness. So God chooses to give us alone time. Jesus Himself chose to go out into the wilderness to be alone with God. The key is focus on God and don't lose the fact that God is ever present with you. And you know who learned that lesson? Hagar. Hagar was sent, as you know the story, in Genesis around 32, 34-ish. She was sent out and she was alone. She felt, "I've been rejected. Sarah doesn't want me. Abraham is obliging Sarah and has sent me out, and I'm all alone." And she basically curled up to die. She gave up hope. It was there that God spoke to Hagar and reassured her, "Hagar, there's a mighty nation that will come from you. You're not alone. I have purposed these things. I'm in control." So when we're feeling alone, we've got to, by faith, grip to the Lord and know that He's not forsaken. There's a plan and a purpose. Sometimes it's not over just overnight or in an all-night prayer. Sometimes it goes on for weeks, perhaps months. No one seems to care. You have family around, but it doesn't help. You're just internally feeling lonely. Draw close to the Lord. Exercise your faith and believe that He hasn't forsaken. That's how you're going to do it. David tells us in the scriptures that he encouraged himself in the Lord. And sometimes that's all you have, is you have to encourage yourself in the Lord. No one else will encourage you. You're all alone. Take heart. I leave you with this word to pause and ponder.